meeting to order. So, Asha's missing. So what do we need to do about Maggie? Do we just take her, she submitted her resignation,
She just told me
I told you.
she submitted it.
But she's not gonna
So
change
you-
her mind.
No, I don't think so. I saw John at Draw Point today, but she wasn't out there.
Oh,
Well, okay, first off, do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting in June? Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay. So Maggie resigning, we need to find another,
Right.
I mean,
That's what you say. You're being taped, that's what you say.
and you have some
So
comments.
I had, this is a man, he's been here several years, and I think he's on the, safety committee, John Latham.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
He's very nice, and when I sent him an email, and he said, yeah, I would be interested, and could you come in and talk to me? And I told him what my hours are, and he hasn't come in, and I didn't think until a few minutes ago I should have given him that, you know. I don't know if you want to call him, well, whoever the president might be shortly, in a few minutes. As she looked around the room. Anyway, so perhaps a board member should call him, and he's relatively young, I would say perhaps in his 50s. And I know.
The average age of the group is gonna go down by 20 or 30 years.
I know.
You're
So-
a babe.
We're looking forward to the average increasing.
So anyway, there you are, that's what I would see, I think it would be good if it be a little bit diverse.
The what?
A diverse, little bit of diversity, you know,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, so you want to provide, you can provide the contact information to whoever's the president?
But you know you're not going to be anymore, so.
Stupid bylaw.
So somebody gonna nominate Asha since she's not here?
That's why Jack missed the wine tasting tonight. He said, no, I'm gonna do that. It ratted you out.
It's something you didn't know about.
There you go. So yeah, Asha, all right.
Okay, so
Oh, gosh, congratulations.
I'm officially at the end of my 3-year term, so I can't serve again
For a year.
for a year, or 2, or 10. So we do need to elect new officers for next year. And the other ones can stay if they choose. I mean, you can repeat, but the president can't repeat. So, anybody have any discussion or recommendations or nominations or volunteer statements or?
I definitely silence all over the room.
I'm afraid to speak.
Well, that means I could, Tony would agree to.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll break the ice. I'm willing to take on the job again, only if Mike stays as vice president.
Okay. I can do that.
Those are my, you know, everybody's gotta have terms and conditions.
Do we need a motion?
I think not, I think once you do the whole slate, you know, once you get the whole slate, then you do the motion to
Let's
accept.
hurry up for so much.
I know.
Okay, so we've got Tony as pres, and I guess I'll be VP unless somebody else wants it.
No. I won't be president unless you're vice president. I don't see people beating down the door for any of these jobs.
Well, okay, so I'll put my name on for VP. Secretary, Bonnie?
I'm willing to stay on unless somebody else wants to do it.
Take the door, somebody take the
No.
door.
I mean, I don't have a lock on this position, so.
There's nothing wrong with getting new blood in
That's
here.
right, that's
It's gonna
exactly
end.
right.
Yeah,
Okay, treasurer,
No, I think that's a Jack, he'll do it.
Does anybody else have any interest?
There's such a learning curve.
Such a learning curve on that job. The
What?
job of treasurer is such a long learning
I
curve.
know.
And when Mike Chukonis was still on the board, there was an idea that maybe he might replace me,
Because he is an accountant.
because he's an accountant.
Mhm. Are you willing?
I'm willing, yeah.
Okay.
You're so thrilled.
Is that all we got?
That's it.
That's it. Boy.
All right, so we have a proposed slate of Tony as president, me as VP, Bonnie as secretary, and Jack as treasurer. Do we have a motion to
I so
approve that
moved.
slate?
I second.
Okay. Now, voting is a little, not supposed to, I'm not supposed to vote as the president. But then the other ones, it's hard to vote for yourself unless you vote each person individually.
Well, maybe technically it should be that way.
Or somebody can propose, acclamation of the slate.
I propose acclamation of the slate.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, all in favor of acclaiming this slate?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, got it.
Who did that?
You know, it's not fair to have a sigh over it.
Okay. I don't have any other remarks. Well, actually I do. And I just was thinking we should have invited him and we didn't. We have hired a replacement for Chris to replace Jeff. His name is Steve Rowe. He's basically a program manager by trade. Does software, construction, a number of other things. Seemed to be a real good self-starter. A little bit, another one of these people that lowers the age of the group. Lives in the neighborhood, lives over on Cove Drive. We interviewed him, Jeff and I and Rhea and, you there? No, you weren't there. I guess it was just us. Okay.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, Tony was there.
That's right.
I knew somebody else was there. Tony was there. And I think our consensus was we all had a positive feeling about him, especially Jeff. And so Jeff has been in the process of working with him. They've already been out, laying out the roads for the upcoming paving. Steve's jumped on getting proposals, or the requests for proposals and stuff like that ready.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna turn out pretty good. And Jeff has agreed to work with him this year to, show him what to look for, not to let go and stuff like that, so we can hopefully avoid a repeat of last year.
Did Steve approach you?
He did,
Yeah,
That's great.
based on the president's letter.
yeah, I
He
put
was in
that,
here like the next day.
I put that note in the president's thing in the newsletter, and he approached us. And he basically works from home most of the time. I mean, he occasionally has to go on, if he's on a job or a contract, he has to go on, but most of his work he does from home or on his schedule. So that, he's not tied down to another 8 to 5 job like Chris was, where he gets all screwed up and can't watch these guys. So that was another reason for doing it. I think Sal might have stepped up to it, but he wasn't really gung-ho about it. And Steve seems like he's really kind of a go-getter as far as doing that kind of work, so we'll see. He doesn't have the highway or the road experience, but he's done other jobs where he learned, the subject matter, material and stuff, and worked it, so we'll give it a try.
And he and Jeff were in today because they went out and finished marking the driveways, which they had started last week, I guess. And Jeff had some things he wanted to, which I'll tell you later about the project and so on. But after Jeff left, I called him, like 2 minutes. I just thought of something else. You know, Jeff, he's very, very
Yeah.
detail oriented. And so whatever that was, minor, but something to do. Steve remarked, he is so detail oriented and so meticulous. He said, I thought I was that way. So I think, you know, it might be not quite as much as Jeff, but I think he'll work out. And the other thing was that for now, after he left the interview, if you will, we kind of talked about him doing for now just the paving until he kind of gets his feet under him. You've spearheaded a lot of the stormwater management stuff, and Sal is willing to like meet with Mike Toro from Rose Landscape and whoever to look at some of these other minor projects. So, you know, then maybe eventually
Yeah,
next year Steve would take
yeah,
over.
eventually, if we get some major, some other kind of major work going, then,
Well, then it might be a whole
that would,
different.
have Steve look at, like Jeff used to.
Right, right.
Anyway, that's,
If you ever need like someone like looks in on those sort of things you're talking about, people here, I do work from home, so
Okay.
I'm either here or I'm completely gone, but never, I don't go to an office per se.
Okay.
So just,
okay. All right, good. Okay, you want to give us an office update?
First, Tony noticed today that there's a little blank missing up there on the plaque. And I did not get it back in time, but it just seemed to me that it would be appropriate to have Mike added to the wall of fame. Because in my opinion.
The wall of shame?
You too can have your name. And everybody contributes a great deal. And not to put anybody else down for whatever, it's just, to me, Mike, you've done a special tax district, you helped shepherd that through. And I, with help, not just you, but you really spearheaded it. And then the beach erosion. I mean, that just has been one heck of a long, 3 years, ever since you took over as president.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's at the,
That's all right, that's
Engraver.
not a forum yet either.
I know. So anyway, there's.
It's all your fault.
Wait a minute. Okay, so to my report, collections for those people who don't pay regularly, and I send out that claim form. Either file it or tell them I'm going to file it. I sent a letter this year because we got in trouble last year with that. Collected an additional $18,489 over just regular collections by sending that claim form with statements. I actually collected one which I didn't expect to collect, because I have filed some claims too, and there was one that I had filed, I had just uploaded it, and the phone rang, and it was that owner. And I swear, 10 minutes. Hey, hi, how are you? Well, as it turned out, I'm not going to name any names, but as it turned out, they were having financial difficulty, and but they were trying to get it straightened out, and they were going through some steps and different programs to be able to get some help. And last week, I got a check for the full amount from the Department of Housing and Community Assurance Fund, which I had never heard of, but apparently they help people out, or help them keep their
That's good.
homes and so on. So I was very pleased about that, surprised. Working on their audit, putting together all that documentation. I'll upload most of it, but ever since COVID began, it's sort of an online thing. I upload it to the vault. But this year, I'd kind of like the accountant to come to the office just for a bit, because I wanted to look at some of the things I did with QuickBooks. I just wanted to look at it and make sure I did it correctly with the posting and so on. So I'm hoping he can do that. I have another court case on the 18th of July. It's to reinstate one. I don't think anybody needs to come unless you're just really
What is
would
it
like
again?
to. I had, when you file a claim and somebody comes in, you can make an agreement and
Yeah.
you dismiss it upon stipulation. They
Right.
pay $100 a month, whatever, until it's paid off. If they don't file it, or if they don't fulfill the obligation, then you can reinstate the case. So I got a call the other day from court, and the woman on the phone said that the court date was the 18th. They had not filed an intent to defend, but she felt I should be there, and I'm not sure why. So, because our attorney had said unless they file that intent to defend, there's no need for me to be there, or us to be there. So anyway, that's that. Then drug hunt day, it went very well. Had about 100, Bruce estimated 110 people. It was less than he had hoped. He had estimated 200, or we planned for 200, which meant we had leftover burgers and hot dogs. Those are in the freezer. Also had leftover potato salad, which I just divvied up into Ziploc bags I had brought and handed it out to the volunteers. So, that's it.
What do you do with those burgers?
They're in the freezer
For, like,
until Oktoberfest.
For
Oh.
Oktoberfest.
oh,
So we have all the meat, I think. Well, we have a case of brats, package of hot dogs, and quite a few hamburgers.
Just like when you were a kid, eat it now or eat it later, but you will eat it.
and when is Oktoberfest? Do you have a date?
Sometime in October. I know the club always schedules.
I believe it's October 7th, because I asked.
Have they set a date?
I believe it's October 7th.
October 7th. I think they try not to do it too late because it's.
Check and see if that's a Saturday, I'll be lying to you all.
Okay.
You want to, do you have a date already?
No.
October 7th is a Saturday.
Okay, they probably is
Yeah.
right. There's no date for the audit. What happens is they send me a list of documents that they'll need. And various, I don't even have the complete list because, they want the minutes from the last part of the year. They want bank statements scanned and uploaded, different things out of QuickBooks, reports, road bond report, all kinds of things. And then what happens is I get a list out of I'll send him my QuickBooks account. I'll send him a copy of QuickBooks. He'll open the books and he'll look at various checks I've written, so to speak, and he makes a list. I need proof for this. So out of each account, there's anywhere from 2 to 20 requests for proof of why I paid this or that. So then I have to compile those invoices, scan them, and send them up there. In the past, he's come here to the office, spent like 6 or 7 hours. But I don't think he's going to do that. I think he would just do it online, which would be fine. I just would like him to do it in QuickBooks.
Hey, Maria, a question. You said you got in some amount of money. What is our percentage of collection then? Are we doing better than the county?
A little bit. The end of the fiscal year, we were at 83% for last fiscal year. And we always had figured 80%, which is what the county figures on collections. So we're slightly ahead of the county for the fiscal year that just ended. And some of those fees will continue to come in. If somebody owes the current fiscal year and last fiscal year, they'll send a check for both. So it'll bump up a little bit more, but not significantly.
Good, good.
Okay. Roads update.
The paving, I sent another letter to Bob Troutman. I don't remember where we were at the last meeting. Was everybody aware that we were overcharged? No. Okay. There's, on the statement, or on the invoice that they send, they separate the amounts that are due. And the amount that was due for the shoulder backup was too high. And Jeff actually discovered that. Because when they measure on linear feet, and then they turn the linear feet along with the square yardage into tonnage for the asphalt. But the shoulder backup is the gravel they bring in. Well, they measured a street, and if it was 5,000 linear feet, they doubled it to 10,000, and that's what we got charged. Well, that's not right, because there are driveways where you don't put any shoulder backup. There's other things, reasons that you don't use that. So Jeff figured, he went out and hand-wheeled everything. Oh, more than $5,000 overcharge. So when I found that out, I looked at last year, because Chris was the project manager last year. we were overcharged by a little more than $3,000. So I crafted a letter, you know, Mike signed it, saying we definitely don't think we need to pay this year's overcharge, and we can't very well maybe ask them to give us money back on last year, but just bringing it to their attention. So I haven't even paid that bill yet. I mean, it's in the books, but I haven't actually paid it.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then on to paving 23 for this year. Like Mike said, Jeff's working with Steve, and they marked the driveways today. At Bay Drive at Lakeview, where they took that tree out, they got down so far to a line and Smecco. It wasn't their line. So they stopped, and I got a call, and they said it's a communication line, so I called Verizon. Verizon came and did a site visit. It's not Verizon. All the cables are buried over there on that. It's Comcast.
Yeah.
So Comcast isn't going to do anything. And Carl actually said Verizon wouldn't have taken it down. All they would have done is trim down below their cable that was up there.
Mhm.
They're not going to take it down. So it's actually on Carl's list to take.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, and
Well,
it needs to be done before we do paving, because we're gonna add that repair to the paving.
Right.
It's a huge tree.
Yeah, I know.
It's a big tree, and at first I thought, well, why don't we just leave it, because it's still alive, one branch.
Yeah, but the whole point was that it's undermining the road, the root
Right,
system.
so it's, but even if we did that, the roots are probably gonna continue to undermine the road, so
Yeah.
we gotta, I mean, it's a bump, probably at least that high. It's enough that if you've got your car over on, you know, with one wheel on the other side of it, it could pull you over, you know, into the little ditch there, so. It's not a simple job to fix it, add it to the paving.
Right, right.
Where's the street? It's Lake Drive?
As you go down Bay Drive,
Bay?
you know, where Bay is, the causeway and
Uh-huh.
up over Bay, well, it curves around
Mhm.
quite sharply and turns to
Right.
Lakeview.
Oh.
So right at that turn is that tree. And,
Okay.
yeah. Got some of it done anyway, no charge. I said we got some of it removed with no charge.
I'm surprised they did it.
I am too. When I called to ask them to do it, they said, no, we don't do that kind of work in a community like yours at all. So I told Carl, and Carl's like, well, let me call them. So Carl got them to do the amount that they did.
But I'm surprised they didn't realize it wasn't a power line until they,
Well, there was power lines up above. They got it down off their lines, but then they got so
okay.
far, and then there was a communication line, and they said, well, we can touch it. And I guess I kind of understand now, what if they bring it down and they have to pay to have it repaired, so. As far as the paving goes also, Jeff suggested that on Surf Street, on the beach side,
Yeah.
toward the footbridge, that we pay right up to the bog there. So I told him I'd run by you. And the statement of work went to 7 contractors last week. And I sent the request for proposals to the paper, and that'll be in this Friday and next Friday's local paper in the Tri-County. Pre-bid is the 26th of July. Jeff will be here for pre-bid with Steve. And then the bid opening is the 2nd of August. So Jeff wasn't sure he could be here at the opening, but there's really not, shoot, I could do the opening, just open and say thanks. I mean, you know, I'm not gonna look at anything, you guys, you know, Jeff and Steve will put all the numbers down and, you know, so anyway, there's that. All right,
But after that, we'll have to have some kind of meeting and decide on which one to
yeah.
pick, right?
Well, the next board meeting will be, what's the 2nd? Oh, it's a Wednesday, oh shoot.
First is the first Tuesday.
Yeah, so maybe that board meeting should be delayed a week?
Yeah. That would be my suggestion. I'm not gonna be here for either one of them, but
Okay.
the new president might be.
So you're saying August 8th then?
August, is that a Tuesday? Is that the
It's a
second Tuesday?
Yeah, it's a Tuesday.
Yeah,
I think, yeah, this is maybe too little more than you'd want to put just through email.
right.
Although you'll take Jeff's recommendation, it's not as though anybody's gonna sit here and say, well, I don't agree with you, Jeff.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
No, but it'd be good to have him and Steve present
sure,
what, what their selection for board approval.
That's true.
Or discussion or argument or whatever.
Right.
But,
So we're gonna do that on the 8th. The 1st or the 8th? I don't know.
The 8th.
Eighth.
The 8th. Okay, on stormwater management, Leeson Cove, so a little bit of work there is finished, and Mike had suggested I go ahead and try to put it through the county for reimbursement as special tax district funds, since we don't have a project manager like Jeff was that could walk it through the county and get approval. So I did that, sent a letter, and the person up there, whose name I don't remember, I asked for some pictures. Mike went and took pictures, sent those to him, and we got approval. So that's important, that's really important, I was very pleased about that. So I'm gonna take pictures of the Bay Drive Causeway, because that's gonna start in the next few weeks. I got a call from,
Missy,
thank you, Missy Ward at Ward's Marine, and they can start as soon as they have half down, they can order the material, and they'll get started on that repair finally.
Will the road be closed or will it be open? I don't care.
You know, they'll probably, I would say they're gonna have to close it for a bit.
what?
The Bay Drive, the causeway, while they get the repair done.
I don't know.
That's-
I
I
mean,
don't know.
they'll
Well,
probably
they're
have
not
to
large,
at least
well,
restrict
then.
it to one lane, so they have room to get in there. You know, occasionally stop it.
Right. But all the material comes in on a barge, right? So it's not as though,
Probably not,
oh,
not for that.
okay.
They'll
Oh,
bring it in by truck.
okay, okay. Well, they are gonna stage at the other end where there's that parking area.
Right,
And, because there's also some repair to be done there.
yeah.
But they
But
asked
I don't
if
think
we
they'd
could
have to
stage,
close
should
it. I
stage
think they
yes.
could, be able to move back and forth with material and maybe, restrict the lane for a while and that kind of stuff. But
Okay. They hadn't asked about it. They hadn't asked if they could close it. So I hadn't thought about it.
You know, we ought to
That makes
ask
sense.
them though,
Yeah.
what are their plans?
Do they want it closed?
But no, yeah, are they planning to close it, or they think they'll have to, just so we know, to tell people?
Yeah,
I noticed he's got his property up for sale,
Who does?
Ward.
Where's this from?
Where?
In Dow Road?
Yeah,
Really?
but he may have two properties,
He very well might.
so I don't know.
We were on a boat the other day, the tiki boat, and the guy was pointing stuff out. Warren has a lot of property in there, I didn't realize that.
yeah, they have the railway and they have the Jamie's house and they have probably others, some adjacent lots.
What's the railway?
Well, that's the original Ward's Marine. That's Junior Ward and whoever preceded him, but that's an old-fashioned marine railway. They put the boats on stanchions
Oh,
on a
really?
cart, pull them up on rails.
Oh, that's pretty neat. Never heard of such a thing.
Jamie doesn't, I don't think they use that much anymore. They did used to use it and they actually did work on boats there.
Oh, they did,
I don't
okay.
think they're doing much of that anymore. Junior's not around, and Jamie's overcommitted on the
I
work
was
he
gonna
does have.
say, he's busy
Well,
enough. Okay, so we need, you guys have approved work on No News Way by email. Anybody remember that?
Yeah.
It's a little bit of drainage work, so we need somebody to, make a motion to affirm.
We have a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? While you're, this whole thing about, like voting by email,
Yeah.
so technically, and I need to go back and look at Robert's rules because it's been revised as we've gone into the 19th century. But where they do talk about, having basically virtual meetings,
Right.
okay, by email or by phone or whatever. But you have to, if you do that, you have to specify it in your bylaws,
Oh,
okay? I don't know what it would take to amend our bylaws. So, but you had, you know, like, I think you had said, well, we need a motion and a second by email. Well, no, we don't.
Okay.
Because we only need a motion and a second for the vote. And that's not the vote. All that is basically an affirmation that the work looks good, and we're basically approving it conditionally,
Like pending the meeting or something?
pending, yeah, pending
So,
vote.
so I shouldn't record this as an affirmation, I should record it as a motion to approve?
Yes.
Okay. And I don't think that's something we've done a lot in the past, it's just that this list of jobs got so long, and it was a question of,
Well-
let's get them going.
Yeah,
So-
it's, I mean, it's silly to have to sit and wait for a
I
month
know,
for a
right.
meeting,
Right,
you know, when there's work that can be done, and it's not, you know, it's not a huge amount of money.
right.
Um,
Okay.
So
Right.
I'll look at Robert's rules here when I get bored, and I'll make Tony some thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
I have a
I
copy
read
you can
Robert's
take
rules
home.
when I'm just, you know. But
I think it's on the
inspiration.
12th or 13th edition or
Probably
something.
something like that.
The 12th is the last one I saw, but it could be more.
There's an online copy you can search now too, that's what Gary
Yeah,
is.
but usually you have to pay for that.
Oh, I don't know.
They have, you can get things like Robert's Rules for Dummies.
Oh, yeah,
Search that, but
well,
it's probably
actually,
pertinent for me.
it might have been the HOA law that is online.
Well, there's stuff online, it's basically adaptations of Robert's
Mhm.
Rules for organizations.
Right.
And, you know, it's useful, but,
It's detailed.
you know, it's getting silly. I mean, we ought to be at the point in our history where we don't have to rely on some 16th century
I know.
book.
Yeah.
We ought to be able to use common sense and,
Oh, no.
you know, anyway.
Well, the truth is, as long as the board is behaving and everyone's friendly and, you know, okay, you agree to disagree and all of that,
Yeah,
it's when fights start breaking out that
That's
you
right,
need.
yeah.
well, right, or, you know,
Otherwise, you
if
know.
we approve a $5,000 contract to Alan's wife to
Well, that may be a
look
problem.
at our books, that could be a problem.
That could be a
But
problem.
as long as we do things smartly, I don't think it's gonna be an issue. And then affirm them, you know, or actually have to vote at the meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, that's all I have.
Jack, how's our money?
I was going to ask one more thing about the trash at the causeway there. I see they put up the signs.
They
Is
did.
that working?
I don't know, because I haven't talked to Joe yet this week. I've been told, and Joe speculated that it was one particular person who's there mostly on weekends, would have parties and then just fill that dumpster, or that trash
Trash
bin,
can.
just to overflowing. And so, you know, Joe's having to empty it a couple times a week, almost, you know. So I sent that person, I was very nice, and I said, you know, it appears that somebody is, and if you are, you know, it's not what it's for, and so on and so forth. And that man responded to say, it's not us. And he actually sent me a picture of their 3 little trash bags on their front porch or something. So we'll see, they do put a sign out. Joe's out, I think we should take it out. And I hate to see that, because then they'll just leave the trash
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And I will say that when I come by there sometimes, there are people, it's well used. There are people fishing, they've got their tailgate up, they're having a little family picnic.
I don't
And I
think,
imagine a lot of that might come from that.
I don't think those people would.
They may not, they may not. I don't think that if you call the police are gonna care one iota
Yeah,
about that.
that's right, yeah.
And I wouldn't suggest that anybody approach them, where's your hang tag, do you live here? I mean, as long as they're not causing big major problems.
I have another question, this actually came up from my neighbors. I know I've seen the crab pots out there in the lake, and my neighbor says that you can only have crab pots within so many feet of your house. You have to live on.
No idea.
Yeah, that's a rule, that's a county or a state rule?
I don't know.
Actually, I can speak to that.
Yes,
It's state DNR.
It is 100 feet
From your home,
from your home.
okay.
You have to own the home. had a little bit of a
And
interaction.
you can only have two
Then you
lots.
can only have two,
Lots.
but you have to be in your home, and that is from anywhere from the mouth of the Patuxent in.
Okay.
But in front of your home, 100 feet, and you have to register. If you go to DNR,
Oh, really?
and it's a now fine, 525 Beach Drive,
Yeah.
and it's no cost, it's just
Right.
registering that I am going to do it.
Yeah.
Because we had a wild one.
And beyond that, you have to have a license, you have to have a commercial license to do trot line or, what?
You don't have a license
Not,
for
well, no, you can
How many
do,
are there?
you can do private trot line,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
if you're gonna do trot line for
business.
business,
Oh,
you have to have
yeah.
commercial.
Yeah.
And you can do hand lines, and you can put out the
And
traps.
you can drop
Right.
trap, the
Anywhere.
kind that clap,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Are there crabs in the lake?
I don't know. It's not me.
Actually, I can answer that too.
Are they in the lake? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
There were some, and I did not know
Which
this
lake?
law or rule until.
Which charm?
Which lake Charlie?
Well, I listed at Drum Point,
He
and
was
I
at
did
Drum Point.
catch some crabs, and they were insanely small. I had
Yeah.
a crab, I had a pot that was, it had 18 of them in 2 days, but they were, no, none of them were
Well,
keepers.
this was on Lake Charming, and there were 3 or 4 pots up at the opposite end from me. So upbeat, you know, by, I can't remember that street up there, but not with Causeway.
Like
The
that,
opposite
like
end.
that,
like that,
like
No.
that.
Near the club?
No,
No.
Yeah, this
no,
is
we're in
Lake
Lake
Charming.
Charming. We're in Lake Charming, at the other end from the Causeway,
Oh.
up in that.
Not your end.
So Laurel?
Yeah.
is
The
it
upper
Laurel?
end,
Well, the Causeway only has one side to the lake, so
Yeah, that's
the
right.
opposite end of the lake,
So
the
is that
Causeway.
Laurel or Dogwood?
I don't know, I just don't know the roads,
Yeah.
but, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The point is that they were up there,
mhm.
and my neighbor was quite distressed. And then there was a wild, I call it the wildcat, that was down near the Causeway. And I just said, hey, I absolutely don't know, I'll just come into a meeting, I'll ask.
Is she suggesting that we report this? No.
I think they got a bitch.
Yeah.
I
But
know
I'll
these
go
people.
back to them
Yeah.
and just say nicely, we had a discussion, it's a DNR rule,
Yes.
there's nothing the property owners association can do about it. They're the type that think the property owners association should, you know, golf cart enforcement. So no worries, I just want to get some clarity.
Sure, yeah,
The
I had no
firing
idea.
squad lines up every
Yeah,
Tuesday,
right.
regular offenders.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have to go to DNR if they have some concern about legality of it, but
Yeah,
it sounds like they're probably would be hard to, unless they saw somebody going out for the 3 pots.
Right.
Well, they're all gone now, that's just kind of funny.
Well,
Maybe they got little teeny crabs.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
If they had my success, then they gave up quick.
Yeah.
I do have a question based on the, I guess, bitching or something. Are there any rules or for fireworks, what people can and can't do within
The
the
county.
association?
With the county.
It's our rules are the county rules.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We don't have any stuff like that. And people violate them all the time.
That's true.
And there are noise ordinances, you know, like
Mhm.
after 10 o'clock and so on. So
And everybody's dogs are terrified.
Everybody's
They
dogs
are.
are on leashes.
And they're terrified, they're in their houses.
All the
shaking.
customers are happy, the pigs are fed and ready to fly.
That's it. I was, just curious, because I had that dog experience.
Yes.
And the bird problem wasn't ideal, but I didn't think there was much that
There's nothing.
could be done about it.
I was just saying.
So there's nothing reported on finance, it's all exactly the same as at the general meeting.
But,
The finance,
yeah,
it's the same as at the general meeting. The budget is approved, that's the big finance numbers.
Yeah.
As far as income and outgo, it's all this reporting at the general commission meeting.
okay. Bonnie or Jenny, anything on environment?
I have just that I took pictures around the area, our 4 areas that are treated for fragmites, and we're looking pretty good, so I'm going to send them off to Mark Smith and find out whether he wants to, whether we should wait a year or even Lake Terrace look pretty good. And the other thing too is that private people that wanting to plant into a treat fragmites, Jenna had a problem with her neighbor digging them up and causing, she felt the Fred mice to spread. And so I gave her Mark Smith's phone number, and she talked to him, and he said he's not doing private residential areas, but he gave her a name of somebody in St. Mary's County, Wally Bowles, and I passed that information on to Rhea in case people want to ask about who might come and
Okay.
treat. That's it.
Good.
The other hand.
Assuming we have nothing on safety. Welcoming committee.
The crew was in and assembled, I think, 6 buckets, lost my little cheat sheet. And I've distributed 2. And Cindy had requested, and we've received 25 new buckets, empty buckets from East Harbor, so it continues on.
She's gonna have to find a new place to buy snacks, I see. That Christmas tree store
Is it
is
closed
going
down?
out of business.
She probably couldn't.
I don't know where, I just saw
Really? Oh, show me
all of their
that.
stores
Oh,
are going
I
out of
saw
business.
I heard that on the
too,
news.
yeah,
that
okay.
They're
Well,
all.
that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, there are other stores.
Next is Christmas will be canceled because there's no store.
I like Costco maybe.
Oh, it's Amazon Prime Day, if anyone
Oh.
didn't know that.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. What does that give you?
You get deep discounts on a lot of items, I don't
Oh,
know.
really? Maybe I should check that one.
Mhm.
I just ignored it. Another email.
Look at all the money you save.
I know.
That's true. Yeah, buy stuff.
That's true.
Okay, finally on the planning committee, i.e. beach erosion, thanks Tony for presenting the talking points. And were there any major issues or anything about that?
Nothing.
Okay.
I
So,
added a snide remark.
oh, good.
No, you know, it said it would be completed by December 23. I don't think so.
Sometimes
No
it is
construction project.
Well,
They never finish on time.
that's wishful thinking probably, but, and
I was just being snide.
I just sent a request off to the company, to Coastal Design, see, ask them basically, well, where's the Calvert permit? Have they gotten any progress on that? And if we don't have it, could we still go out with an RFP for, to start to get bids without that permit? So I haven't got an answer yet. The target was to try to get the bid package out early August and work from there. I'm waiting on answers. So you're right, probably won't get done.
I didn't mean to.
Thanks,
jinx it.
Tony.
Thanks a lot, Tony. You're, okay. Reserve study?
Talk about a waste of money.
Well,
But it's a legal requirement.
it is. So Representative from Miller Dodson, Michael Pellegrino, came a couple weeks ago now. And Mike was there, Jack, and I, and gave him all kinds of information. And he's asked for a little bit of clarification on some of it since, and he expects to complete the draft of the level 2 study this week.
All right. And new business, you got affirmation of the committees?
Yes, and I sent it out, and I didn't print a copy of it for the meeting tonight.
Oh.
I can. Do you have it?
I
You want me to print?
don't.
Shall I print a copy?
Well,
You're good.
If you're gonna print some, I needed a print form, but phone is just still a little too hard for me to read.
Oh, you want it a little larger? I can do that.
Yeah, yeah. Phone is for people who can read. Maybe the correct phrase is can see.
4 shut down both directions up there, basically White Sands up to the power plant for about 4 hours.
Was this where I was coming home and I was like the third person in line.
Well,
So I mean, I guess I'm kind of happy. It's the Route 4 where the person there was killed.
First, apparently the northbound car was turning left into White Sands. The other car came down and T-boned it, killed the person that was in the left-hand turn car. So I'm sure somebody was at fault. And of course, then they shut it down because it was a fatality. They gotta go in there and measure everything, mark everything, and
You knew it was bad when you see things that would be normally in the car, that are out in the street.
yeah.
And as it turns out, we're actually coming back from New York from a funeral walk. We ended up having to go back up to the bridge at 2:30.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, well, yeah, 10 minutes from home, when it was an hour and 15.
We did the same thing. We were coming back from Minneapolis
And go back to Prince Frederick?
and go up and go back up to Houston.
There
Yeah.
wasn't a fatality.
We would have done that, but it was, by that time, we were probably 11:15 when we did it. And these guys wouldn't tell us anything. Well, how long do you think it'll be? Well, we don't know. Carol even called the highway patrol barracks and said, hey, do you have anything on updates on this accident? When it's gonna be clear? Nope,
Was it in the evening or, was it in the evening?
Sunday night.
7 hours.
8:50, it was like 8:50 p.m.
Yeah, about 8:40, somewhere in there, and it was still closed at 11:30.
Yeah, it was, so someone was going left and someone was going south. And,
Yeah.
Wow.
I can read that.
My kind of person.
Maria put it out for the senior reading.
Works for me.
Okay, so we need to affirm the committees. So environmental, Bonnie, Jenny, and Asha. You guys still okay? Any additions?
Bless you.
Okay. Finance, Jack, me, Bonnie, Jenna, well, I don't know, she don't scratch her off. She could be on it,
Could
if,
be in it, yeah.
you know, if she's
I think she's interested.
still interested.
Jenna?
Okay.
And Mike, she's on this.
But Mike-
It would be good if he would do it.
Yeah, I think he is,
He'll stay
he
on
will
it.
do it, yeah.
You think he'll do it?
I think he will.
Okay. Okay.
And I think, Susan, you had stepped up and you were on 1 or 2 of these committees. And
Yeah,
I didn't add you to these. This is last year, sorry.
To which one?
Well, I came on and said.
Welcome.
And so, yeah, I said it'd be on planning.
Planning.
And I actually would like to be participating in the budget, because I know that's the real heart of this.
Okay, so
business.
let's add Susan,
Yeah, you should probably take me off planning, because I haven't contributed to that at all.
take you off planning.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll put Susan on.
Finance
Tony.
and planning, Susan?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Want to stay on that planning?
I guess, if I should, maybe.
Okay. Okay. Roads, have you talked to Sal, is he?
I think, yeah, I talked to him about the small stormwater management jobs, and he was good with doing that.
Okay,
So, yeah,
we've been there,
Chris is obviously
we'll definitely take Chris Franklin off,
put Steve.
put Steve Rowe as the ex officio,
Is that ROWE?
Yes.
ROWE, yeah. And Jack, you want to stay on it?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Sasha's not here, we'll leave her on it.
Make a job.
I guess I can stay on it. Welcoming Cindy, Asha, Jenna.
And
Jenny.
Susan was on that last year. Susan was on that last year.
You want to stay on it?
Sure,
Okay.
that's fine.
What about the safety committee, shouldn't they be on there?
Well, I
We
don't,
should.
did we ever actually affirm it last year? Remember
No.
there were those delays?
No, we
and
never did.
We never affirmed it to last year, from last year, because Maggie couldn't get responses from the people that were on it. Of course, Peter passed away. You know, this John Latham
Yeah,
is on there.
he was on there.
So,
You're right.
yeah. So if John comes on board, he's on the board,
Yeah,
maybe he would be willing to step up and spearhead that and get it back over.
Well, so let's leave that, just leave that open, I guess.
I'll see if I can. Well, I'll send the contact information to Tony, to you, for this John Latham, who is interested in being on the board.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
You know, has he already talked to you or not yet?
No, other than to respond to my email and say, yeah, he would be interested in that, and would he like to come and talk to me? And I gave him my hours, and he has not come yet, so
Oh,
we'll
you
see,
know,
yeah.
yeah, if he comes in,
He
still-
works full-time, I mean, he's not,
well, yeah, give me the contact information. If he
Okay.
comes in to talk to you, he still has questions. you
Okay.
know.
There's plenty of time before the next meeting.
Yeah,
so-
Oh,
we
yeah,
have a
yeah.
lot of time.
Yeah. Okay. We need to vote on that or not?
I suppose, motion to reaffirm the committee?
Do we have a motion to affirm all of the committees as read?
I'll make that motion.
Good, have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
Okay, passed. Anybody opposed? I didn't hear enough.
You mean it wasn't enthusiastic?
Anything else? This next meeting, we decided was gonna be 8th of August.
Yep.
If there's no other comments or anything, we'll adjourn the meeting.